Previously on Up at Noon.
Mr. Coheed, it is such an honor to have you on Up at Noon.
I'm not Coheed.
It's not Coheed. His name's Cambria, you giant idiot.
Oh, it's time to go.
You scared him off.
I did?
You scared off all of our guests.
You look like a troll. Drucker would have never left if you loved us more. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Up at Noon, and holy did I wake up in some kind of fantasy world where TV, do my beautiful eyes deceive? We have a new studio. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your support in this transition between studios. Give it up! Dave Cool worked all day and night on this thing. One man, one hammer, built the entire thing. Huge thanks to the good people at Sony for providing all of these giant televisions. They are legitimately everywhere, even behind the audience where you can't see. They aren't really there, and that doesn't make any sense to you at home, I'm sorry. It looks like the years of overrating Sony games, though, have finally paid off for me. Joke, it's a joke, I am joking. If I could do it again, they'd all be perfect tens. Especially Lair. Big show here today, Up at Nooniacs. Great show, I should say. Brian Altano joins me to talk about Microsoft's reaction to the PlayStation 4 console news, and Gary Whitta is here to talk about his upcoming blockbuster Will Smith film, After Earth, and maybe Walking Dead the game. But first, the news you care about. New studio. Today's random IGN printout, some kind of Indiana Jones map. Pear is planning some kind of thing across the world. I don't know what he does. The upcoming PlayStation 4 will let you download games and try them before paying for them. Or as the rest of us have been calling it for years, piracy. Speaking of which, PlayStation 4 lead system architect Mark Cerny stated that the development of the PlayStation 4 software started nearly 5 years ago. Now, as a Sony professional reporter, I can tell you, this is a huge jump from the development of like PlayStation Vita software because it hasn't even started yet. Too low? Thanks for the TV, Sony. A new Sony application called PlayStation App will enable users to interact with Sony consoles on their iPhones and iPads. Meanwhile, new Apple devices called iPhones and iPads will enable users to continue to ignore their Sony products. Next week, it's just going to be cardboard. Just cardboard everywhere. Ubisoft has confirmed that they're bringing Watch Dogs to the Wii U. But the bad news? They're spelling it with a Z. That was a good one. And finally, with Sony blowing the lid off the PlayStation 4 and lining up with partners like Bungie and Blizzard, all eyes are on Microsoft for their next move with the next Xbox console. To tell us about the future of the Xbox, here is Microsoft's senior producer, Brian Altano. Brian!
Yes! Hey, good, nice.
We sold the green screen for the studio.
It's gone, yeah. God, we got those Sony TVs now. Speaking of which, PlayStation 4. You're a joke. Greg, if you think Sony even stands a chance against what Microsoft has planned, you've never been more wrong. The next Xbox is...
Okay. No. Not today. Not... Brian, it's been 6 years. 6 long years at IGN.com covering PlayStation. And the first ray of hope of Sony not completely f***ing this thing up, you're gonna come in here and stomp on like a flower struggling to survive in a future that doesn't need it. It doesn't, I mean, Apple everywhere. Apps, 90, Sony comes out and they're like, we're about getting, and you're gonna come in here and talk this Xbox that I've had to hear for, oh man, achievements in our online works, and hey, you can play Marble Madness, and I can play Castle Crashers, and I don't want to talk to you. This is a Sony show, it's a PlayStation show. This is a good day for the PlayStation Nation. You, sir, can pack up all your goddamn green screens and vests and get the hell out of here.
Holy shit, man. I thought we could like make like a video game joke about like the PS4 or like the 3. The f is wrong with you?
How many weeks, Brian, has it been since I said I haven't seen Die Hard? Not one invitation to his house. That's what's happening here, ladies and gentlemen. It's my day. Beyond. I never say it on the show. Beyond. Come on. finally happening for us! They're gonna buy Vitas! Shooey! We won! Brian Altano, everybody. Like I said, this is my day, and there's nobody in the world that can stop me. Speaking of nobody in the world, Greg Way, there's nobody in the world of an upcoming after. What the f did you write on my day? Ladies and gentlemen, he has a new movie called After Earth. He's written The Walking Dead, the game, Gary Whitta. As I live and breathe, Gary Whitta.
Hello.
Hello, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. First thing, arms up. Put them
What?
up. Put up your arms.
Why? What are we
Look
doing?
at all the weight this guy's lost. What a quitter. You know, I'm trying my best to keep Team Fat alive here, and you're over here doing sit-ups, running around.
Letting the side down. I'll send you some pictures over when I used to be really quite fat. That'll cheer you up.
I guess when you start, once you relapse, then I'll be cheered
I
up.
feel like your Oreo videos are just a secret campaign to try and get me fat again.
They're
Because every
secret
time I
campaign
watch
for
them, I want to
something.
eat Oreos.
YouTube right now, Oreo-ration. You'll thank me later. Gary Whitta, thank you so much for coming.
You must be really hard up for guests.
No, you're the first person ever to come back 3 times.
Yeah, and
You
the
and
first
Carl's-
person on this lovely new set.
First person to Chris
Look
in
at
the new
this.
interview
I
set.
know, it's beautiful.
Yeah. How do you like it? Audience much closer.
Yeah, and kind of weirdly positioned.
Yeah,
like
try to
they're
touch his
off
hand. Try to touch
they're
his
off-
hand. Look
Look at that.
There- well,
They're,
they
but
can't-
they're
still
off
can't
to the
see.
side though.
There-
Like they have to. This is a weird setup.
Well,
It's
you know,
great.
we're
but
working the kinks out.
Yeah, I mean,
it
it's
took
a
us.
wo-
It took us 52 weeks to get IGN to believe in us enough to give us a new set.
It's
so
a work.
We'll work the kinks out on how to arrange the audience once we're sure they're not taking it away.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah,
You'll get there.
I think so. Speaking of works in progress, you got a movie coming out.
That's a good segue. Dude.
Greg
That's impressive.
Way!
You're a pro.
I'm on today.
You are a pro.
After Earth.
Yeah, June 7th. I'm excited about it.
You wrote this movie.
I co-wrote it.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means I wrote it when someone else wrote it as well. We both wrote it together.
Like in one room?
Sometimes.
Okay. Who's the other writer?
M. Night Shyamalan.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, so I wrote the first draft, and Knight and I wrote the second draft together, and then Knight kind of went off, because he directed the movie, also went off and kind of wrote, the rest of it, kind of became his thing. So, big summer movie, June 7th. Will Smith and Jaden Smith crash a spaceship on Earth 1,000 years in the future, and lots of crazy action, but also hopefully a really good father-son, like a human story at the center of it. So we'll see.
So they're not from Earth. They're visiting Earth?
So the backstory is that 1,000 years ago, i.e. kind of today,
Okay.
we had to leave. And we evacuated Earth, and we went and found another planet to live on. And 1,000 years later, Earth has basically just become forgotten about. It's like historically where we're from, but nobody really thinks about it anymore.
Gotcha.
And then Will and Jaden are a father and a son. They're on a spaceship that crash lands on this hostile planet that they discover is actually Earth. And the idea is in the intervening time, Earth has kind of evolved to a place that is extremely dangerous for humans. And so everything's a survival challenge. And Will's really badly injured, and Jaden kind of has to step up and be the hero and go and get rescue for him and survive this dangerous planet. So it's a big, fun, science fiction action movie. Like I said, hopefully what it's really all about is a good father-son family story as well.
Is dubstep still popular in the future?
Is it still popular now? I thought we were over that.
I still hear it all the time. I try to get away from
No,
it.
it's all Harlem Shake 1,000.
Don't cheer that.
I've got bad news for you. It never goes away.
Is that why Will Smith, or is that why Old Civilization's finally like,
That's why we. That's in fact.
out of here.
That is in fact, yes. I tried to keep.
They're eating up all the bandwidth.
That is in fact why we leave. Too many Harlem Shake videos. The only way to escape is to leave Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, walk me through being a screenwriter here now. Do you go to the set a lot then too when the movie's happening, or is your job pretty much done once the script's
Sometimes it depends on the movie. Like on the Book of Eli, I was lucky that the script was basically done by the time they started shooting, so I was really there just as an observer, trying not to get into people's way. And what you discover is that when you're on a movie set and you're the one guy that doesn't actually have anything to do, you're always in somebody's way. And I was actually there on Eli. I was there the week after. You remember that Christian Bale blow up on the set of the Terminator movie?
Good for you!
He went off on that guy. So I was terrified that I was going to be like, that was going to be me.
Yeah.
But
Mila
managed,
Kunis just screaming at you. What do you want?
I was more scared of the Hughes brothers because those guys are hardcore.
Yeah.
And I thought they were going to shout at me, but in fact, they're lovely. So I had a good time there.
I'm sure they like being on the internet now called lovely.
And
You
then
totally outed them.
After Earth was a little more tricky because they shot all over the world. They went to Costa Rica and all these crazy places. And but for some of it, they shot it on stages in Philadelphia because that's where Night tries to shoot all his movies close to where he lives in Philly. And they have a big sound stage out there. So I got to go see the crashed spaceship and some of that cool stuff. So yeah, it's fun.
Okay.
Hung out with Big Willie.
Yeah, Big Willie style.
Yeah.
Did you talk about Millennium? It was one of his albums. Does he still go to Miami a lot? That's the other question I have.
He does.
Yeah?
I think that love is real. I don't think he was faking
That was a jam. That was a jam.
Yeah, that was a good song.
Welcome to my Orman Hinglin Oblongata.
Wow.
Do you have Will Smith on your phone now?
I have both Will Smiths.
Well, the other Will Smith, he'll just put him on. There's this guy on Twitter.
My
named
big
Will-
plan is to
excuse
try.
me.
So my other friend Will Smith, who runs Tested.com, is I'm trying to get them both. The idea would be to get them both at the premiere together and see if that would be like dividing by 0 or something. And
Yeah.
see what happens.
Like Time Cop.
Yeah.
Same matter can't
Yeah.
occupy same space.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be bad.
So we'll see if we can pull that off. But yeah, I'm excited about it. It's going to be fun to have a summer movie and drive around and see the lines because I'm fairly confident that people will show up for a Will Smith movie.
Oh yeah. So now, do you ever think about your life and be like, man, this is weird? You used to review video games. Now you got Will Smith in your phone.
Well, no, I mean, not you make reviewing video games sound like it's not a cool job. It's a fantastic. I love that.
It's a great job. Thank you, one person who likes this job. Greg Atlas, everybody. No, video games, great job. But again, it seems like we're missing a step. Reviewing the PC games, like Charles Onyett doesn't have Will Smith's phone number. Mila Kunis has never yelled at him.
I've been very, very fortunate that I've got to do. I grew up loving movies and video games, so I've been very, very fortunate that I got to kind of have two careers where I got to do both of the things that I love. I worked on video game magazines for many years. You know what made me feel really old?
What's that?
You know how Nintendo Power closed recently? I discovered that Nintendo Power came out the year I started in video games. In 1988, and that made me feel so old.
Yeah.
So I did video games for many, many years, the editor-in-chief of PC Gamer and for a brief time Next Generation and some other cool magazines, but I always really secretly wanted to do movies. And I don't know if I ever would have had the courage to really pursue it because it's not an easy business to get into. It's a very high failure rate. You may as well buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah, exactly.
And I got laid off from my job like 12 years ago, and I'm like, well, now I've got no excuse. I'm sitting around with nothing better to do. I may as well try and write movie scripts. And I wrote a bunch of movie scripts, and you need to write like 7 or 8 before the first one's going to be any good. Each one is like slightly less horrendous than the one before that.
Yeah.
And I finally got to the point that I felt like one was good enough to show to people and sent it off, and somebody liked it, and I got an agent, and kind of went from there. So I've been pretty lucky.
You have been. Well, you're talented, though. The talent's a big part of it.
It's better to be lucky than good. But if you can be both, I'm not saying I am, but if you can, that's the magic.
I'm just banking on luck. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
They somehow keep giving us TVs. Thanks. All right. Cool.
But I still try and do the video game. I mean, it was in my DNA for so many years that you can't ever really extract it. Like I still play video games constantly, and I still like to write and talk about them whenever I can. So, to come to IGN, one of the great cathedrals of video game culture.
Yeah.
It's, that's why I'm so easy to get me here.
Walking Dead, though, how's that going?
We won a lot of awards.
You did. Everybody liked that Walking Dead, the game.
So the last time I was here,
Yeah.
I think that was actually even before my episode came out.
It was.
Since then, the full season came out, and we did really well. I think something like 80 plus Game of the Year awards, which is amazing. And also a lot for story, which I'm particularly gratified by because that was kind of my
Right, you were story consultant.
focus. I was a story consultant, which is to say I had really the real champions of that game were Sean Vanneman and Jake Rodkin and everyone at Telltale that really made that game what it was. I just kind of like hung around the periphery and helped out where I could and wrote one of the 5 episodes. But yeah, 80 something Game of the Year awards. I was so pleased that I kind of wish it would have been any other year because Journey is pretty much my game of the decade. It's one of the most amazing games I've ever played. And I was like, can it be any other year that we'd have to go against this game? Because every time we won an award, I kind of felt, but I kind of wish Journey had won it because it's so good.
Yeah.
But in the end, it seemed like there was a pretty good split. Journey won a ton, and we won quite a lot as well. So I think it was kind of the best scenario. We've got the BAFTAs coming up next week, which for me as a Brit is a big one. It'd be nice to win a BAFTA. That'd be cool.
Sure. You get knighted if you win, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it
That's
works.
right.
Okay.
That's right. And I get 2 free murders.
Before I let you go, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask what's happening with The Walking Dead. Where is season 2? I'm very excited for something to happen.
So a couple of things. We're doing a panel at South by Southwest in a couple of weeks in Austin, which is going to be cool. Myself and Dan Connors, who's the CEO of Telltale, are going to have some guests up, and we're going to do a panel all about using, I guess, Walking Dead kind of as a template, but talking about the whole future of interactive storytelling and how it relates to storytelling in film and television. Kind of like we saw the DICE talk with J.J. Abrams and Gabe Newell.
Right.
Kind of like that, but without J.J. Abrams and Gabe Newell.
Oh, okay.
You get me instead.
Are you going to have Dave Fennoy?
We're working on some quote unquote special guests.
DaveFennoy.com.
Right now. I think we've got God, what's the name of the guy? But he wrote. I think it's Andy Birch wrote the Borderlands games. Is going to be there as well.
Okay.
It's kind of cool. So we've got some good people, and we're going to have fun time in Austin. And then beyond that,
Thank you. All right. They got yelled at a couple weeks ago.
Do we all have to
Yeah, we got
drink
to drink
now? Okay. Good call. So season 2.
Yeah.
You want the scoop on season 2?
I do.
I can't help you. But I can tell you what you already know, which is season 2 is coming.
Yeah.
There's not much to say because it is really very early in the process. We're just starting to talk about it. So it's a way off. But knowing that it's a way off and knowing that people are hungry for more Walking Dead, I think I can say this. Maybe. I'm going to find, my phone's going to ring in like 5 minutes if it turns out I couldn't
Someone's
say
going to use one of their free kills on you.
Yeah. There may very well be more Walking Dead from Telltale before season 2. We may have a little something extra for you. Between season 1 and 2, there may be something in the works even as we speak that will make the wait for season 2 slightly less agonizing.
Probably the best tease we've
Or
ever had.
more
on the show.
agonizing, depending on.
A lot of people screwed up. You did really well.
I think there will be more solid information on that in the near future. But for right now, you won't have to wait for season 2 to play more Walking Dead.
Wow.
I will say that.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for telling us something. All right.
I gave you some. I gave you some real
You did good.
stuff.
Yay! When we have more Walking Dead news, you'll find it on IGN, of course. After Earth premieres June 7th.
June 7th.
Go see it.
Theaters everywhere.
Dubstep.
What? No. Harlem Shake.
No, well, if I have to choose, I'm going dubstep.
Okay, why not? Maybe you could fuse the two for the ultimate.
That would really
for
chase
the
everyone off the
worst
planet.
musical experience ever. Yeah.
Gary, thank you so much.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
After the interview, the producer said I went a little over the top in the monologue. I apologize for you at home. But you know, we're popping the studio's cherry the only way we know how, with lots of heavy breathing. I am sweaty and full of just regrets. But thank you for watching, you sexy, sexy audience in our sexy, sexy studio. If you want to be in our real audience, go.ign.com/up@noon for details. As always, Brian and I will be responding to comments the first hour. This video is live, both on IGN and YouTube. So come on in, talk to us. It will be great. Our keyboards will be there. We will be shamefully behind them, dodging any questions you might have about what really happens here. We'll be back next Monday, but until then, I'm going back to bed.